Next series we're going to go over is the Lazy Man Cradle Series. This is something I made up quite a few years ago. Had a lot of success with it in the early 80s. Used it up through my retirement. My son uses it a lot now, and it's starting to get pretty regular national now. The Spladle and the Lazy Man Cradle. I made both of those up and named both of them, and they seem to be working very well. We're going to go over the Lazy Man Cradle first from our flat position, from the knees. I made this up in freestyle when a guy gets down on his belly, arms out, belly's out, and doesn't try to do anything down, and you have to turn him over. And I developed it from there, and it's been rather successful. And we'll show you a couple ways of doing it. And here it is. It's a lot of fun to do. Give it a try. If you like it, it works. The hard part, if you look it down, Jake, is getting your partner to help you. He wants to help you so badly, he turns the way you're pulling him, and because he turns the way you're pulling him, you never get it. This is the easiest cradle I know to get in competition. It's the hardest to get in practice with a passive partner because he always turns the wrong way. It's not unlike a head in the side cradle, where you reach over the leg, over the head in the side, you push and you buckle him up. It's very much that. I took that same concept, but what I did is I got on top of him here. I straddle the leg here. I'm riding it like a horse, one leg on either side of the leg, okay? That's step one. I'm going to hook in back here. Step one, hook in. Step two, I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab his leg. Step one, hook in. Step two, grab his leg. Step three, I'm going to come forward. I'm going to put my elbow on the mat up next to his ear here. Step one, while I'm wrestling here, I'm fighting him here, I hook in. So I'm just doing this to get his attention, make him think of something else while I'm hooking in down here. And when I'm ready to go, step two, I reach back, get his leg. Step three is a combination of two things. My head in the side, on the head in the side cradle, it's not a head in the side. I take my knee, boom, and I come into his side here with that. At the same time, I'm coming into here, I'm coming up over, elbow inside of his head. So, I have the leg hooked in, I have his ankle, I have the knee in his rib here, and I'm pulling his head around. Here's the hard part that your partner won't do. Coaches, you need to insist that when I start buckling in this way, that the guy turns his near hip up. What happens is your opponent, your practice, they always turn this hip up, thinking you're trying to pull him back this way, and it never works. He's being too helpful. He has to fight me. He's going to say, no, damn it, I'm not going to roll over. I'm not going to my back. And he'll turn the far hip down, near side up, and from there it works. Okay, so that's the position you need to have your opponent, your partner, in practice get into. In a match, they always turn this way. They always turn this way in a match. In practice, they don't always do. So if a kid on top says, Coach, I can't get it. Sure, he can get it. This guy's screwing him up, and I'm too young in this, I don't know that. So you as a coach got to go, no, Bobby, turn your bottom hip, bar hip down, and your hip up. You get in that position. Step one, hook in. Step two, get the ankle. Step three, knee in the rib as you drop off to his head here. So all I'm doing now is I'm pulling. Okay, I'm buckling him up with my knee in his ribs here. I've got his chin, I've got his foot. I pull, and when I get to here, I boot him in the butt with my left knee. I'm pulling and booting him in the butt. Pull and boot. Boom. Ajax straight up on his back. I have his ankle here. I bring it down. I bring his foot down. I figure four my leg and bring it down. I don't have my hands locked in this. I don't have to. But as I think you can see, every referee in the world can tell you he's pinned. There's no cheated here on a Lazy Man. It buckles him up. Let's go from a different position. He's facing out that way. Okay? Leg hooked in. Fighting here. Go back. Step two. Ankle. Over his head. And your knee in the ribs. See how he turned automatically? His near hip comes up. From there, I win. If he turns the other hip down, I don't win. Okay, but nobody in a match, nobody turns that other hip up. They always turn this way in a match. They always turn the other way in practice, unfortunately. So you got to stay on it, coach. From here he turns, here, pull, boot. From here. Figure four, and it's locked in. A Lazy Man. If you're having trouble, we can do it from the knees. It's easier to learn from the knees, but most of the time you'll get it from down on the mat, in the flat position. Faces with Jake. Okay? Swing around. Yes, thank you. From here, hook in, step one. You're riding here. Reach over, get the heel over the head. And all I'm doing is pulling this foot across his butt. I'm pulling the foot across here. Not up his butt, across his leg here. Here to here, pull it across. Now when I pull across, just boot him in the butt. Boot, out he goes. So, hook in, ankle. You can't go get his head and then come back and get his ankle. There's too many feet between his head and his foot. I can't reach him both at the same time. I have to get the ankle, come up, get the head, and I buckle him up. So you can do it from flat, you can do it from the knees. There's two ways of controlling the ankle. As I got older, I had to learn to shift my hands because I didn't have quite the forearm and grip strength I once had. It's easy to just go back here when you're young and hook it this way. As I'm getting older, instead of hooking it this way, I come under here and I hook it here. I grab his heel and forearm. This is a stronger grip, and I have to get this anymore as I get older. But, you know, when I was younger, I just scratch here, boom, and pull. As I get to the way, now I can turn the hand the other way. Or I'll pull it up to here, and then when I'm ready to go, I turn my hand, you can catch my hand here to here. So I go here, pull, 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 hand goes down, and I catch it the other way. Now I can pull. I can get a really good grip with this. And pull and buckle. Okay? So, two ways of grabbing it and buckling it. Now the hard part is in the finals of Fargo this year at 152, a young man from Massachusetts had a kid from Illinois in the finals. And this Massachusetts kid was just a pinning machine. He was great. And he won the Fargo Nationals, and he pinned his way through it. I think he pinned 9 to 10 matches. In the finals, he pinned the Lazy Man Cradle. The kid was so tough in the bottom, he didn't buckle up. So there's a point where, run back down, where it's one of those, if you don't go, force it. Okay? If you get a buckle, he had him here, and he had it like this way, and the kid wouldn't buckle over. He just landed straight up his back here, and buckled him up this way and over. The kid on the bottom was one of those, thought he was going to get his back broken. He pulled it straight up his back and then buckled him over. Okay? So that's when you get one of those tough suckers that, I'm not going over. Oh yeah, watch this. You have to get a little tougher with it. So you pull the leg across the body, boot him up with your leg. You're using your knee where you would use your head on the head in the side cradle. So it's a modified head in the side cradle, but I'm using my knee instead of my head. So that's a Lazy Man Cradle. It works extremely well. Okay, now what we'll do is I want to go into the Crossface Cradle Series. I won states in high school on a Crossface Cradle Series. All I ever rode, Crossface Cradle. No matter what you did, I had a crossface on you, and I had my hand up the crotch, and I'm running you. I'm trying to plow furrows with your nose across the mat, back again, to make you quit, I like the Crossface Cradle Series, and it's an exceptional way of learning how to ride, and even your moderate kids are not the smartest wrestlers you have on your team. You have plenty of time to execute the move because you're out to the right angle. The referee's not going to call you for stalling. You're off your knees. He's carrying your weight. You don't have your hand around the guy's waist. Another thing, another point here. I'm getting a little bit off topic, but these things are important in wrestling. Slide back just a little bit, please. When you're riding, my opinion, do as you wish. Every reversal, every escape, he knows. A switch, a Granby, a step over, a side roll, a head turn in, whatever you name starts with my hand around his waist. Anything I do, if I put my hand around his waist, he can switch me, he can roll me, he can, take hand control, Granby from there. Everything he knows, he can do with my hand around his waist. So why do you put your hand around his waist? I never do. Because the referee says you have to. Well, the book says you have to when you get in the referee's position, when it says when he blows the whistle, you don't have to keep your hand here. I take my hand out from around his waist quickly. I don't believe in spiraling in there with my hand in there. I don't want to chop and tight waisting. If I keep my hand around his waist, I'm giving him his entire offense. If I'm going to get into a war with him and I have a gun and he's got a gun, if I disarm him and take his gun from him and throw it away and I got a gun and he doesn't, and I say, okay, now we start the war, chances are pretty good I'm going to win it. I got the gun, he doesn't. I don't want to give him a gun, he may hit me. So from referee's position, my hand comes out of there right away. If my hand comes up the crotch here, grabs the near ankle, grabs the far ankle, I just have my hand here. He can't switch me, can't roll me, can't grab him, he can't take hand control, stand up. You've taken away his entire offense. Coaches, get the hand out of there. My opinion, what it's worth, don't ride with the hand around the waist. That's why this Crossface Cradle Series works so well. It immediately takes the hand out from around the waist and goes into an offense. Okay, now, what I'd like you to do is face the camera, if you would there, Jake, right there. What we're going to do is teach you crossface. The idea on a crossface is to stop his first move, or it can be done anytime during a match. The idea on a crossface is just like a side roll. You don't go to your side on a side roll, it doesn't work. You don't do a stand up when you stand up, or you're going to get picked up and thrown back down. You don't do a crossface by going across his face. Sometimes we mislabel things that throws you off a little bit in wrestling. On a crossface, I'm taking my bicep and I'm hitting him in his ear. I want to have his whole head turned to the side like this. I'm not having his head rotate like this. If I hit it high, crossface, then I rotate his head this way, and I end up with my hand up here somewhere high on his shoulder. I never, in a Crossface Cradle Series, want to have my hand high on that shoulder. I want to have my little finger on his elbow. Down here, little finger on the elbow, nothing up here, little finger on the elbow. And once on the crossface, once I reach across and I put my little finger on the elbow, I don't change it. My hand stays there the whole series. I never let go and lock my hands into something else. I keep my little finger on the elbow in a Crossface Cradle Series. On a crossface here, what I'm trying to do is take my bicep, catch him in the side of the ear here, boom, move his head over there. I want to wet my finger and put a little X over here on the mat here. And with that wet X is where I'm punching. My hand's coming down here, boom. As I punch it down here, that throws his whole head over there. I'm not coming across his mouth and nose where I'm going to bloody something. His mother gets all bent out of shape. She comes out and hits me over the head with her pocketbook. I'm going down here. This is far worse than having a bloody mouth. This really gives him an Excedrin headache. So what I'm doing is I'm coming down here, little finger going to go on the elbow, little finger on the elbow. You'll hear me say that at least 28 times during this series. You want to have your little finger on the elbow. So when you come down here, little finger there, elbow. Don't have it on the tricep, don't have it on the shoulder. You cannot pull his arm in. There, one finger, I can pull that arm in if I'm down at the elbow. I have my whole hand up here and I'm not moving that arm, down at the elbow. So, from referee's position, first thing I'm going to do is step one, bam, little finger on the elbow. Step two, my hand comes out from around the waist, goes up the big valley, back here. Okay, from here, I'm going to get up off my knees. Step three, so I'm going through a 5-step process here. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step 1, crossface. Step 2, hand out around the waist, up the crotch. Step 3, I get up off my knees. Step 4, rivet, like a little froggy. I'm going to dive into him, explode into him. I'm not going to push him, I'm going to explode into him. And then step 5, I'm just going to lay on his face and pin him. So everything I do here, and you're going to say, well, where's the Crossface Cradle out of this? It's Crossface Series, isn't it? Well, this is what I'm trying to do. If he rolls over, I pin him, okay. If he doesn't roll over, it's because he laid down. It's because he sat out. It's because he stood up. It's because he put his foot out as a brace. It's because he said, no, I'm not going over. And no matter what he does, we're going to show you something to turn him over and pin him with it. So, all we're trying to do is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember that, coach. No matter what, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is all they're ever trying to do. If that doesn't work, then we go to alternate plan B, D, E, F, T, and X, whatever. Crossface, crotch. From here, step 2. Step 3, off my knees. Now I have control of his left arm. His left arm is responsible between 9 and 12 o'clock. Halfway between 9 and 12 o'clock is 10:30. So what I'm going to do when I have it picked up here, the only one possible hour on the clock I can drive and have success in this is at 10:30. And if it's at 10:30, I should have my foot back here at 4:30. Foot back here at 4:30, driving off, which takes me up the opposite direction at 10:30. I drive, I start picking his hips up, shoulder comes down, he comes up, over, and he's on his back. That's step 4. As soon as I got here, I keep the cross face, my little finger on the elbow, keep the cross face. Now step 5 is I'm starting to roll toward his face. Instead of having my 4-inch chest across, remember we talked about the 2x4? Instead of having my 4-inch section on his chest, I turn my 2-inch side across his face. I got his arms crisscrossed over his face. I got my 2-inch side, which doubles my body weight on top of his face. I'm pushing off my leg here. I have no weight on my legs. You're seeing this, the result of this, and I want to kill him, so I start pushing off the hand here, and I start pushing more weight down across his face. And he's not thinking about thou shalt not be pinned. He's thinking, you animal, get off me. I want off the mat. I want nothing to do with you. Because I got his arms crisscrossed over his face, and I'm getting his attention. He doesn't care what his coach says. He wants off the mat now. So it's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I love you, son. Love you too, Dad. Okay, step 1, little finger on the elbow. Step 2, crotch. Step 3, off my knees. Step 4, I take him up at 10:30. If I was riding the opposite side, I'd take him up at 1:30. I drive him down, up in the crotch. Here, that's step 4. And step 5 is I got his arms crisscrossed here. All I'm doing is rolling to the side here. So I have all my weight over his face. I'm putting foot here, and I'm pushing that way. I have a hand here, I'm pushing that way. I'm pushing both those arms here, and I'm pushing everything I own right here on top of it, and I'm laying down on the 2-inch side versus the 4-inch side. We talked about the 2x4 side of our body parts. Okay, that's all we're trying to do. That's all I want. I don't want the world. Just let me the crossface crotch, take him on over. Now, if he says, no, I'm tough. I'm not rolling over. Stick it in your ear. He's going to put his hand down. He's going to sit down. He's going to lay down his belly. He's going to put a leg up. So here's where we start going into the series. Here's where we get into the crossface cradles and what you like. Okay. Crossface crotch. I'm going to drive into him. I'm going to end up over this way. Okay. So from here, bang. And when I practice this, I come back and go, hit him again, Charlie. Come on, Sammy. If they're going, I don't know. Come on, throw it in. Boom. Little finger on the elbow. Get the cross face. Step 1. Step 2, I start driving into him. He goes, no, I'm not going over. He's got his foot up as a brace. I'm driving. I can't get him out there. See, he took his foot even past 9 o'clock. He's up at 10 o'clock. It's really difficult to go up at 10:30 now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay here with my hand here. My back arm is going to slide from the crotch up so that my elbow joint goes to the back of the knee joint. My chest that was on his chest is going to slide forward, so my tummy is going to be on his chest. I'm just sliding forward. From here, I slide forward. Now, I wouldn't have my hand down here, but I am just to talk to you. My hand will slide here to here, and I'm going that way. See right there. There's a big gap back here. Hard part of this now is you just roll. You just roll. You don't go behind him or anything. You just roll. And you roll off of him. It's real simple. Nothing complex. Just roll off of it. Crossface crotch. Drive up, here, roll. Keeping a little finger on the elbow. We talked earlier about cradle grips. Crossface, cradle grip. Don't do that. No, 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 no. Keep the crossface, lock on your wrist. Continue to roll. This is a far cradle. Same thing holds true. Hips away, knee into ribs, forehead, hairline on the bone behind the ear. Push it away. If he's giving you any grief with his foot, put your foot here and make a wish. Okay, so jump on. Crossface, boom. Little finger on the elbow. He goes into the big valley. I go, no, you're not taking me over. He puts his foot up there. He slides forward. He starts dropping off. Locks his hands. Okay. He's walking home. But anyhow, that's the idea. Crossface, up we go, back we come. Some of the things we covered on the far cradle, the way getting the guy over, by spinning behind, putting your knees between his legs and spreading your legs, or spinning around and doing the field goal kick, both of those are apropos of the Crossface Cradle Series. There's just another far, basically a Crossface Cradle is a modified far cradle with the arm caught. It's a much more effective pinning. If you're going to pin, near cradles will pin 80% of the time that you get your hands locked. 97, 98 when I'm doing it. Modesty, of course. But I believe in myself, and I want you to start believing, and as I get going in here, every time you get your hands locked, the match is going to end. But realistically, for most kids, 80% of all near cradles end in a fall. Probably 40% of far cradles end in a fall. Probably 65, 70% of crossface cradles end in a fall. Now, the easiest one to get, far cradle. The next easiest one to get, crossface cradle. The hardest one to get, and it's not really that hard, but of the three, is the near cradle. But the near cradle is a little harder to get into. Once you get your hands locked, match ends. Far cradle, you get back points. So it's up to you whether you learn to specialize in the far cradle, near cradle, bottom leg cradle, under leg cradle, whatever. But the idea is you're looking for different types of cradles, but I think your success rate, if you have a choice, anytime you see a near and a far, drop off to the near. The near is much more deadly than the far or the Crossface Cradle Series. So on the Crossface Cradle Series here, the two more things we just showed you on the far cradle. On the Crossface crotch, I start driving into him, steps up. I come back over, put my knees on the mat between the two. I lock my hands on my ankle. I take him on back. We covered that already in the far cradle. I do the same thing, spinning around. I'm going to put my foot underneath his, and I'm going to do the field goal kick. That works as well. Crossface crotch, I drive the leg, steps up, I come here, okay? As I come around, I put my foot underneath here. And lock my hands, and now I'm just picking the leg up. I'm kicking the foot up, which takes him on down. Then I hook in, scissors the leg, arch. I can put the bottom knee in the ribs, put my head in the temple, split the legs. Okay, options of finishing up on your crossface. But they're all based on that. If he's down on the mat, but laying on his belly, I can lock into a crossface from here. You've taken him down, you've chopped him, you've broken him down, you picked him up, bounced him, whatever. You land on him. Look where his hands are right now. These hands are very, very similar to where they always are in wrestling. When you come down, your hands here or they're right here, and you're starting to think about coming back up, but your hands are in this location. So as soon as I throw him down, so I jump on, boom! Okay, I fall down on him, he's down there. All I'm going to do now is I'm pushing the back of his elbow here. So I'm pushing his elbow, boom, that way. Okay? I'm doing this with the other hand. Boom. Crossface. When you get both of them together, it sounds like I just killed him. Okay, hand goes forward, cross across, little finger on the elbow, out to the side, now I've got my crossface. So I can do it anytime during a match. I can do it when I drop down on top of him. He's down here, he's trying to start coming up, bang. As I'm coming down, little finger on the elbow, out to the side, hand comes out and starts going to the crotch here. Now, depending, see right here, depending upon what he does, if he lays flat like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick his front end up a little bit like this. Just enough, there's a gap under here. So the hand is in the crotch. The only reason I have my hand in the crotch is when he's up on his knees. It's like I'm hanging on a crack in a wall, rock wall, and I'm climbing the wall halfway up the mountain. You know, if I'm up in the mountain, I want to be hanging into the crack here so I don't fall. Okay, when his hips are up, I want to be back here in the backside part of his body to help me hang on so I don't fall off. When his hips are down, I'm on the ground now. I don't need to look at cracks when I'm standing on the ground because I'm not up in the air. So my hand can come out of the crotch here, it goes underneath him here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand over there and I'm going to cup, form a cup, and I'm going to cup his shoulder like this on that side. All right, so I have my crossface here, his knees are already down. I can't get under his body here because I'm laying on it. So what I do is I step in front of his head for a second, and I pick his body up. So I did. I pick his body up, and I come underneath. I go underneath his body, and I lock on the shoulder here. I keep the crossface, I lock on the shoulder here. I say, come here, come here. I say it twice. Now, to myself, as I'm teaching, I always do it. So come here, come here. And see what happens? I moved him from belly down to a right angle. Come here, come here. Sometimes it only takes one come here, sometimes it takes three come here. I don't care. Get into this position up and down. You know, if you're a stud, you pull it once, he comes there, okay? I'm not a stud anymore, I gotta take 2 times. Okay, fine. Okay, so I have the shoulder here, I have his arm, and now all I do is go 180 degrees around his head. Up, around, 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 around. I go around a little quicker than this, a little smoother, but pop, 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 pop. So now I go 180 degrees around. I still keep the little finger on the elbow. I got his arms crisscrossed. And now where do you think I should be leaning? Up on his face. Okay? I don't want to be chest on chest. I want to be chest on face. I want to get his arms crisscrossed here over his face. So I have the little finger here on the elbow. I've got his arms crisscrossed, 180 degrees around. And now I start leaning up on his face. I got my legs spread, all my weight's off of that, all my weight's down on top of him, and that's what's causing the legal discomfort. Okay? How about that, Tiger? You want to do it once?
No.
No? Okay. Good choice. Okay. Bang, bang. Boom. Little finger on the elbow. He stays belly down. Pick him up. Get your hand under there. Pull the lat. Come here. I only did it once. Got him up. Great. Fine with me. All I got to do is get him in that right angle. From here. Here, 180 degrees. Round, 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 round. Once you get him around, get him crisscrossed, and up on his face. Okay. Is that a cradle? No. It's part of the Crossface Cradle Series. So we're doing crossface. Depends on whether he stays down, whether he turns his hip. These are all series, and it all puts him on his back, and there are happen to be cradles involved in the Crossface Cradle Series. And that was not one of them, but the next one will be. Okay? If I have the crossface here, I'm locking in, and I start driving in, he starts dropping his bottom hip because he's put out as a brace, and I can't get it. Now from here, assuming I still have the same thing, the hand's back here is going to slide forward. Having my hand at the back of the knee here is great. Having my hand up here is even better. If I can get my hand a little further up the calf here, if you're a long, thin guy, you might be able to get up a little higher. If you're a little short, squatty arm, you're gonna have to be happy with the back of the knee. I can usually get it mid-calf. Crossface here, I put my hand up here at mid-calf. And I reach in and grab, see what my hand's doing? I'm grabbing and holding the mat. I'm gonna get a good grip on that mat. I get up, I walk in front of his head, and I'm driving his head down to his leg by extending my legs with my toes dug in. Legs are extended. I now reach up and lock my wrist, my hand on my wrist, keeping the cross face. Now we talked about one of the bring-overs from the far cradle was tripod up, put your knee as closest to his head, in his ribs. That's what I like. You have a choice of here, just sitting, turning, and pulling him on back. Okay? That works extremely well. I like to try to create legal discomfort. I want to convince him that he wants to put his shoulders down. I don't have to want to physically put his shoulders down. I want him to put his shoulders down for me. So I get the knee up in the air here. I drop my knee down on his ribs, and then I pop him over. And now he's thinking, oh my God, thank you very much. You know, the pressure comes off his ribs, but now I'm tightening him up here. Head on the bone, behind the ear, and so on. So, if he stays down, I'll reach under, cup the far shoulder. Come here, around the head. If he turns his near shoulder down, or near hip down, and gets his leg out there, I'm going to start bringing the two ends together. Back of the knee, or up halfway at the calf, and bring the two ends together. That'll work too. If a guy from the referee's position has a crossface, he does a sit-out. Okay? Bang! Little finger on the elbow. Crotch, I start getting here, he does a sit-out. As soon as he sits out, I'm going to sit out next to him. I don't want to reach over here and lock my hands. If I stay behind him and lock my hands, he's out of there. He's going to raise his hand straight up in the air, and roll, he's going to be out. Okay? I do not do that. I sit down next to him. Crossface crotch, he sits out, I come out, and I sit down next to him. I sit down next to him. What can I do with this knee? I stick it underneath him. I'm sitting next to her, like we're in a movie theater. My girlfriend, I put my arm around her, watching the movie. Sit down next to her. Reach under the leg here, reach up, lock on her wrist, and back we go. Okay, if I had my foot in here like this, he's going to take his leg and hook under my leg. Okay, so when I go on back, I'm the one on my back. Don't want that, it's counter. So as I sit here, I sit my knee under, not my foot under. Reach under, lock. Now here, this momentum I talked about earlier is critical. This is exciting. I got him! No, you don't. Don't be jerking me back here. Hold him tight. Slow, 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 slow. Don't go back fast. He's going to keep on going. And roll out. You're going to almost had him. Oh, darn, coach. You know, I came that close to pinning him. You went too fast. Slow down. So, if he sits out, you have that. If I, so these are things as I'm trying to go into step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember the 5 steps. As I go through those, that's all I'm ever trying to do. And if he doesn't roll right over, he did something. He bellies down. He sits out. He tries to stand up. He drops down to this elbow, onto this hip, and plants that far leg. That's what you're going to do now. I whack him here. I drive into him. I drop him down to here. He's down on an elbow. He's not giving me that cradle. This bottom leg's out here. I don't have the crossface cradle here. Okay, I got the bottom leg. It's kind of hard to get in there, but you might be able to get a cradle. But from here, he's on this elbow over here. So, stay right there. If I'm pushing in at 50 pounds pressure and he doesn't go anywhere, he's going to be pushing back at 50 pounds pressure if he doesn't go that way. If I push 100 and he's not going anywhere, he's just pushing back at 100. So I'm going to push him as hard as I can, and then all of a sudden I'm going to let go of him and pull him that way. I'm going to use his momentum against him, and I'm going to get out of the way. So I have chest pressure here. I'm pushing into him at 50, 70, 100. He's going. I'm not going over. So my hand is his hips up or down. They're down. So do I have to have my hand in the crotch? No, because I'm down on the ground. I'm not up the mountain now. Okay, from here my hand goes out from the crotch, goes underneath, and hooks his arm. Out, under, hook. Doesn't matter. Anywhere I hook it, between the elbow joint and the shoulder here. Reach under, hook it here, step to the front, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Plant your knees, pick him up, pancake him back. So it's just a boom, pancake him back. It's called pancake pick in this position. Okay, drive it, step up, boom, and pick him back. Now, I keep the hook here, and I try to pin him right from this position. I'll try to let go and go into a half, although it'll work. I try to keep right what I have. having to do with cradle? No, but it's part of the Crossface Cradle Series. So we have the pancake pick, we have the spin behind it, the field goal kick. We have the reach under for the shoulder here. If a guy starts to stand up on you in a Crossface Cradle Series, that's very, very rare. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin him down so he's going to land somewhere right over here. Okay? If I have a crossface crotch and he starts to stand up, for a second I'll have his head down and I have his crotch. All I'm going to do, tell you right there, here, is I'm going to pull him this way, keep pulling, crotch is coming up, arm is coming down, and I'm pulling, 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 pulling. I'm trying to go into a circle. I'm going to make him a airplane, and I'm a conning tower. He's circling the conning tower as he's coming in for a landing. Okay, from here, I have to go and turning. And I keep the cross face, the arms are crisscrossed. Wonder what I do. Drop my right hip, get pressure up on his face, get my 2-inch side, cross his face here. So, he starts to stand, pull, circle. It's you kind of flinging him. It's like taking a 3-year-old's younger brother by the hands or the leg and hands and spinning him around. So he's laughing and his feet are all planed out. That's what we're doing with him. Spinning and circling. So there you have the Crossface Cradle Series. If he sits out, he puts his foot up, he puts his leg down, whatever he's doing, you're riding the crossface, you're riding the crotch, and you're holding it down. It's a whole series. And no matter what, just hold the crotch, hold the crossface. If he doesn't do anything, you don't have to do anything. You're at the right angle. You don't have your hand around his waist. You can't switch. You can't grab it. You can't stand up. He can't do anything. You're trying to ride him, which you will ride him from there. And eventually he's going to get tired of just being ridden. He's going to put a foot up. He's going to try to stand up. He's going to try to sit out. He's going to do something. And no matter what he does, we just covered every position he possibly could do. And no matter what he does, you have him on his back. It's a great riding situation. Keeps the referee off your back from stalling and keeps you out of trouble, while the whole time you have plenty of time to figure out where you are and what's he going to give you in order to pin him. Crossface Cradle Series. All right, let's spend a short moment on what we call an under-leg cradle. These are cradles you typically don't see. They're not traditional cradles, but a cradle's a cradle's a cradle. Hand, head, knee together, lock your hands, take him over, pinning. Here's situations that people are coming underneath your legs trying to duck out the back door, and we go into, well, an under-leg cradle is when you're reaching underneath your leg and cradling the guy. Over-leg cradle, under-leg cradle. They're unique, they're different, but they're just as deadly, and they're just as basic as anything. Okay, from referee's position, this one's probably the most funky one of the under-leg cradles, but you'll get the idea of it. It's out of flurries. It's when you get to be a decent cradle guy, you start getting into different positions, you start weaseling around, he keeps snaking, low single or whatever, he's ducking under the leg to come out. Okay, I got leg hooked in back here and I'm riding the guy. I step up and I hook his leg up, or arm up here. So I'm hooked in back here, I'm now stepping over his leg here. And what they're going to do is they're going to grab it and they're going to start ducking under it. See, he's going to start ducking under so he can post up and come on out. Once he ducks under that, what I'm doing here is I'm going to reach underneath my leg here, underneath my leg, and lock it up. See, he voluntarily put his head under there, which brought his head close to his knee. And that was by design. They're taught to do that, and then to post up. As they're coming in here, I've got a lot of weight on his head here, keeping him from being able to post up. I'm going to reach underneath my leg versus over. Over, there's no place to put it, you get caught here. But you got plenty of room under here on the underleg, and then you take him on over. You keep your lock, but you got kind of a screwy situation. You're under the leg. It feels a little weird, but it's just as good a cradle as any other cradle. So from a different angle, he's facing that way. Stepping in, hooking here, wrestling, fighting. You can give him here, give him the leg. He's going to duck it. As soon as he ducked it, he bent his head underneath. So all I'm going to do is drop off under the leg and take him over. It's really kind of neat. Passive and aggressive, different setups. That's a passive setup. You hook it, he goes right into exactly what you want. Next thing we're going to do is a low single. We're going from our feet. We're moving around. And he hits me on a low single. I turn my back. I'm going to high leg over like you would in freestyle. Turn high leg back over like you're going to do a crotch lift or something. As soon as you high leg back over, you sit down and you put the weight across the back of his neck with this leg. Here, I'm straightening my leg. As soon as I come back over here, I'm reaching underneath my leg again. Because what he's going to do here is he's going to start balling up so he can come under so we can post up, you know, and come up out of there. Okay, easy. Okay, from here, I reach under, lock my hands. Again, I'm underneath. I have no room to get in here over top of him to find a way to get in and lock my hands. But underneath the leg, it's really simple. And then take it right up over, forward roll. Okay, into it. So you can do it from riding with hooked in, you can do it with a low single. How about if he does a high crotch and he cracks me down? Instead of changing off to a double, he cracks me down to my side. Once they get down to here, what they're doing is they're looking to, see what I'm doing? Here, leg up, duck under, and come up. But what am I doing with my head? Lift the leg up, duck, my head and my nose, my knee are together as I'm coming up. And that's what I'm looking forward to. He gets a high crotch on me here, boom, I start crawling here. He can't change off to a double, but he cracks me down on my side. And I'm starting to squeeze here. He's trying to get to here. He gets under here. As soon as he gets under here, he's ducked his head under. Under your leg. Okay? Under leg, lock your hands. Now I'm having a hard time reaching this right now, so I'm fortunate I'm going to do the finger roll. I don't have the luxury of doing a butterfly grip. Okay, I'm lucky to get my fingers locked here. But I got them locked. Match is about to end. Okay? So let me go to you. On a crack down here, I'm in here. I start cracking him down, and as soon as I get him down, I start to sit under here and duck. And from here, he reaches underneath his leg here and locks it up. You know, I'm playing. And up I come. So, the same type of thing if I'm riding legs. And he sits, and he gets under the leg and starts coming under the leg as one of the counters to legs. I have a leg in, I'm riding, and he pops me down the side here, and I'm trying to hang on the crab rider, hang on, it's there. I'm hooking in here. I'm not supposed to be doing this when I'm doing leg back, but look where his head is in relation to his knee. He ducked under, I have my leg hooked here, so he can't take his leg back, and he's ducking under there and ready to post up. From there, under, lock my hands. So, again, right here, the leg's in, he sat down, and I'm fighting him here, hanging on. He gets under there, and he's ready to post up. Under, leg cradle, lock your hands. Now, they're kind of crazy, you look at them and go, well, that's just a little bit too much for me. You know, that type of cradle, but they're everywhere. Again, what I'm trying to do in the next hour between the near cradles, far cradles, and Clamp Cradle Series I'm going to show you, what you're going to see is there's cradles everywhere. And are you going to memorize 10% of these, 200% of these? No. But you're going to say, hey, I never realized there were that many cradles. I can save myself from any position if I just start thinking about cradles. Get your hands locked, taking them on over, legal discomfort, and we terminate the match. Remember, terminal takedowns. That's what we're going to be drilling here. Terminal rides, terminal reversals. That's what we're doing. Cradles are all about. There you have the Under-Leg Cradle Series. All right, what we're going to do now is talk a little bit about what we call the Clamp Cradle Series. Clamp Cradle Series. Check if you come down here. What we're doing is we're going to put a cast on his near thigh. The one that's closest to me is right thigh here. And I'm doing that while I'm pinching, like I'm riding a horse using the inside of my thighs. I'm going to be pinching on his thigh with my legs, or I'm clamping the leg together. So I call this Clamp Cradle Series. Basically, we have 4 rules that go with the Clamp Cradle Series. We want to clamp the thighs. We want to put a cast on that by bringing our legs together, clamping on that. All my weight's going over top of them. Okay, number 2, I want to get my hips high. I want to put my weight, have a heavy chest on his back. So I'm clamping, leaning forward, I'm driving off my feet here, I'm shifting his weight onto his hands more. Okay, I'm going to reach over the near arm, I'm going to get a hold of the pectoral muscle here. I'm going to get a hold of this meat right there, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to get a hold of the laces. All right, now one of the keys to this clamp cradle is we have 4 of them here. Weight on the chest, clamping the thighs, hooking the pec, and now down here at the ankle, we're not picking up an ankle. Not picking up an ankle, what we're doing is we're picking up the laces. There's a difference between the two. Big difference. All right, now I've got a clamp cradle here, heavy chest on his weight on his chest, lat here, and I go back and I pick up the laces, not the ankle. If he can turn his foot out like this, okay, then it's easy for him to post his leg out there and start coming up. If I have his laces, it's mechanically impossible for him to turn his feet that way in order to get out to post his leg, post up, or reach back and grab my wrist. I want to go back at the laces here. So I got a clamp here, pectoral muscle here, laces. And this basically, this is it. This is the ride. Now we're going to come into cradles from here, and from here, all I'll do is keep the weight on his hands. If he wants to come back and pick up ankle control here, all I do is just pick and I drive off my back leg. He's got to let go of my ankle or he's going to fall flat on his face. If he goes back with his left hand and tries to pick up here, and it's lifting forward. All I'm doing is making him move forward. I'm picking up at the laces. I have the clamp over here, both my legs pinching on his thigh, and I have his pec here, having on the chest. And I just wait here, and I start riding with him. Eventually he's going to say, darn it, I want up, and he's going to put his foot down. When he does, I'm going to reach over. I want to lock 3 to 4 inches above his knee joint here, have my arm somewhere here, elbow joint at the back of the knee, or back of the neck here, boom, boom, here. And I lock it up. Okay, so I go from laces here, I'm riding. Anytime he starts to pick up one side or the other, I just start leaning forward. I'm pushing up this back leg, which jams him forward. When he finally gets frustrated, he puts his foot down. Okay, I reach over. Now, reaching over here, again, back of the knee, above the knee here, and at the neck here. Boom, lock my hands. Again, I use my finger roll cradle, bury my thumb, bury my thumb. Okay, now from here, what I'm going to do to take him down, all right, all I'm going to do, I have choices here. I can either come to the side the cradle's on, turn my back, and drive into him and drive him back over. We've covered that on the far cradle from here. On the bring to the mat, we can, once he steps up here, you can roll behind him, and you must roll by coming in underneath him here. If you come in underneath him here, that keeps him from being able to arm through on you. If you start rolling out there, that's when you're going to get in trouble with the arm through. So, here, I want to come back here. I drop down behind him. Okay, now he can't arm through on me, and I continue to take him on through. Boom, onto his back. So a clamp cradle is basically everything works around clamping the thigh, getting a hold of the pectoral muscle, and the laces. And you just hang on. He's going to get tired, he's going to put a foot out, or he's going to tripod up. Okay, so we have a choice on the clamp cradle. Let's turn sideways here. I have a choice of 3 things back to the legs. From the lat here and pitching, far laces, or I can go near laces. If I go near laces, I don't have as much of the clamp as I would. I clamp a lot with the far laces, I clamp less with the near laces. Now from here, I don't have that near leg tied up, so as I'm driving into him, it's even easier for him to step up. If I keep driving this way, he has to step up. When he steps up, I'm back into a far cradle. Okay, far cradle, stay there. Okay, from here, another way of taking him down is elongating him out. I'm going to do that. This is the way you throw legs in when you're doing a crossbody ride. If you throw the leg in backwards and throw the other leg in, I want the heel of my foot to catch him up here at the thigh. Okay, here to here. Okay, I want to step in here and I catch my heel at his thigh. And now all I'm doing, assuming I still have the cradle on, for here, I'm going to take that leg and take it back, taking the leg back, and that elongates him here of where I can pull him back over. Okay, so I reach over here, hook here, and I start taking that leg out. Now it's easy to drop him on over. So, pop the leg out, down he comes. All right, I can hook in with this leg on the clamp cradle. Clamp, and hook in. And now all I'm doing with the laces here is I'm draping back to my clamp cradle, waiting for him to start tripoding up and quadpoding up. And once he starts coming up, I'm going to drop off into a near cradle. So everything centers around clamping the leg on his leg. Clamp cradle, up here in the pec, laces, and waiting for him to stand up and down or whatever he's going to do. Basically, I'm trying to elongate him. I'm trying to push him this way, pushing this way. He's trying to ball up. When he finally gets tired and balls up, he's going to ball up into a cradle. Okay, if he drops down on both his legs, let's say I had a crossbody. From here, he starts coming up on the clamp here a little bit. I straighten, I stick the leg in. Okay, and he steps up and I get a far cradle. Okay, when I have him here, all I'm going to do, keeping the lock on, I'm going to drop down to here. I'm going to drop down to my side. I have my foot I have my foot hooked down here. And what I'm doing is I'm going to straighten this leg. See what happens to him when I straighten that leg? It plops him down. Now if I have the far cradle, I'm doing the same thing. I have the leg hooked in, the tripod goes up, I lock it here, I drop down to here, and I start, I can't get him over, just start straightening the leg. Down here. Leg goes from here, straighten the leg. And then he takes him on over. Okay. So with the legs in, you can get into that. If he's down on his knee, he drops down to the side, I'm riding the cradle laces, tack, he steps up, and I get this, and he drops down flat here. Stay there, don't move. From here, like a head to the side, I want to put my knee in his ribs here, and I'm holding him still here, and I'm going to pick him up, and I'm going to end up rolling him up on top of this leg. So, as he drops down here, I put my knee in his side here, back, and I'm pulling him up onto my knee. I roll him up on my knee, and I take him back over. Okay. Basically, there's a lot to the Clamp Cradle Series, but for the little guys, it's just better to learn the basics. Clamp the leg, get on the pec, down on the laces, and you ride that. If they try to reach back to toss you off, pick the leg up, put the weight on the hands. If he reaches back to grab the ankle, or your wrist control off the ankle, you pick the ankle up, and that shifts his weight forward. We're trying to get him out of that ball, get him into a push-up position, and sooner or later he's going to get frustrated, and he's going to step up with that leg into the far cradle. If I had him broken down, it's a variation of the clamp cradle. Instead of clamping up here on the thigh, if I've broken him down here, you can really frustrate the guy by what I'm doing with my feet. If you focus in on my feet here, all I'm going to do is put both my feet together here and catch him at the ankle. And all I'm doing is I'm straightening his leg. I'm holding both his legs, hook them together at the ankle, and then straighten your legs. When you're riding him here, he can't even get his knees under him. It looks like he's stalling. I'm trying to ride him here, but he can't get his legs underneath him because I've got his whole body extended here. All he can do is move his left leg. And he's going to start pulling his leg under to get up, and then he starts to get up, and I'm going to reach over and lock the cradle. So lay flat. So what I'm doing is I have this leg elongated, pinching here, and straightening it. Okay? It's a stalling move in a way. You're riding him here. The referee thinks he's trying to do something, or not trying to do something. He's going to get on him, stalling or whatever. Whereas coach, you gotta move, Jake, you gotta move. And he's going to get frustrated, and he's going to start pulling his legs underneath him in order to move. We reach over, and we lock our cradle. We can drop to the side, the cradle's on, we can do the roll through, turn her back, drag her back over. Okay, we can put our knee in his ribs, pull him up on us. Basically, that's a clamp cradle. All we're trying to do, clamp the leg, get the lat, laces. Laces, pectoral muscle here, clamp the thigh, chest on the weight. Weight on chest. Once we get here, we're picking up the laces, lat, and pinch. Staying high here. It's real frustrating for him. My hands aren't around his waist, he can't do side roll switches, stand-ups. It's really hard for him to do anything whatsoever until he gets frustrated. He's going to jam up, putting his leg up, and we lock into a cradle. Clamp Cradle Series.